Hi Martin, what's the latest? Where are you with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah, I spoke to him this morning. I think he wants to come, and I think he's coming.
What was that conversation like? Last time we spoke to you, you obviously said it was a player you admired, felt maybe he had other options. What's been a key part of that progressing?
I would have assumed he's got a number of options. I think it was even talking about Arsenal for his training. Might take him on because they might pick up a couple of injuries. So I'm delighted that he's going to come, and so he says. So I think he's doing a medical tomorrow, and all being well, I'm hoping that he signs on.
How pleased are you then? Because if you were perhaps not so sure that this would be the right place for him, that you or Joe Hart, you mentioned, has perhaps managed to convince him?
I think the football club itself probably has convinced him more than anything else. If indeed it is convincing, we might be having this conversation in 36 hours, and he might come up here, see what the weather's like, and disappear back down again. Quite easily. There's a few who've done that in the past.
Would you be able to update us on what changes you've made to your Europa League squad? The deadline was last night. You've made
come on, you've got a list, young man, in front of you, and please go with it.
I wish I did.
Not doing your job.
We were told you were going to enlighten us.
Who told you that?
I don't know if I'm allowed to blame your press officer. I don't know where he is in this room at the moment.
Right, okay. So there was a couple of positions left over, and of course, being out of the game for a little while, I wasn't completely sure of what ruling takes place. Whether you can take out long-term injuries, such things like that there. But we've got obviously Julian and Thomas come into it because they've been here, and I think we're allowed to make another change, and that was Amadou.
Just on Alex, obviously there's not too long left of the season, 3 months. He has been training. Do you feel that he'll be able to get up to speed really quickly if you manage to get that one over the line? Yeah,
I think one of that's really the main point about it all, and I think that again, in terms of European football, because we had to do these particular things, I want to make those changes to players who were at the football club rather than waiting around, and that's I think he might be a bit of disappointment there from Alex's viewpoint, wanting to show what he can do in the European stage, but we had to press on, and but if he can get up to speed, I do believe that he's got the desire. He wants to do well. He's 32, which is in this day and age really no age whatsoever for players who look after themselves, and that's the point. And how quickly we can do that there, I suppose it would be up to both of us as a football club and he as the player.
Martin, there seems to be a big sort of backing amongst supporters groups behind a boycott for this weekend's game against the board. I just wonder, your sort of understanding of that, do you understand where the supporters are coming from? And the other side of it, how important is it in a title race that the club gets maximum support from the fans?
Well, it's naturally it's not a great thing. It's been happening now since it's certainly going back probably to late August time, if not before that, and so it's something a bit new. I thought that way back when I was managing my very first time here, there was a great togetherness. Hence, 75,000 fans descending upon Seville for the final. Anyway, those things are gone. It's a new era, and what I would like, if it's at all possible, if there were some meetings, which I think Mr. Wilson said he was going to take place, which is really that's a big step forward, I think. And I think he said himself, we might not agree with everything, but let's find out what all the ailments are, and let's see if we can rectify some of them. And that, because going forward, the club will trip itself up if that's the case. If you're not, you cannot. I know my first spell here, and I meant it really, even though it was in a sort of a jocular fashion, that maybe the likes of Maeda and people like us here wouldn't be worried too much about what's been shouted across over the pitch. But eventually it's debilitating, and it does affect people, I know. And Celtic have always prided themselves in a sort of togetherness, and it is strange really for it to be in this shape. So we need the fans in. I think you saw John McGlynn speaking way back, taking Falkirk here, saying that it's the atmosphere can turn topsy pretty quickly if that's the case, and that's not something you want to hear from opposition managers who feel that that's the case. And if I don't know, maybe these meetings might take too late before tomorrow's game, but if they're talking about some sort of show at Stuttgart, I think we should try and have some sort of talks before then.
Is that important that you feel those meetings there is a middle ground or a solution met as quickly as possible for the good of the football club?
Well, there should be a middle ground. There has to be a middle ground somewhere along the way. There has to be. How quickly we can reach that there is probably in the lap of the gods. But it would just be nice to know what all of the complaints are about, and or the club's attempt at least to rectify those.
Martin, say back to Oxford Chamberlain. You mentioned earlier how big a deal it is to come here. You've already got experienced players in Kasper Schmeichel and Cal McGregor. How much will that be boosted with someone of that calibre as well? That
would be nice. Yeah, we've got a number of young lads now. Even though some of the lads that I've taken out on loan until the end of the season, I think someone of his calibre coming in, and just his presence around the ground as much as anything else. But more importantly, that's. I mean, I could maybe get a couple of old ex-players to have done that. But this boy here is here to try and play and try and get into the team, and try and get as fit as quickly as possible. I mean, he has been doing the training, but getting back to your point, I think it would be nice for him to have him here at the squad just for at least these couple of months.
Yeah. When do you realistically think he might be available fitness-wise?
I don't know. I really don't know. I will speak to him. Hopefully he might be travelling up tonight. If he is, I will speak to him tonight. Have a little sit down with him. I think he might be doing some medicals tomorrow. That's, as I just walked through the door, that's the news that I got. By the time I get out of here, it'll have changed.
Martin, is that a short-term deal to the end of the season, or
yeah,
is it longer?
It is, and then it's both parties have a chat about it afterwards, if that's the case,
Any squad news?
In
terms of any injuries, no?
Right. Don't have injuries as such, but I will probably change a few players as much as anything else. We've got games coming up thick and fast. I think the Aberdeen game has been rearranged for the Wednesday evening, so that's 3 away games in 6 days. Obviously, don't think anybody's taken into consideration the fans travelling back and forward to these games. Our fans, 3 away matches, costly business, Yeah,
did that surprise you, given the kind of schedule there is just now?
It did, yeah. Was pretty well surprised at that, but how quickly it was organised.